Yesterday, we got the announcement of the play-in tournament games or in-season tournament games. And of course, the only ones we really care about are the Lakers. Now, this tournament for the Lakers will begin Friday, November 10th, and they will be playing the Phoenix Suns. Then they play November 14th against the Memphis Grizzlies, November 17th against the Portland Trail Blazers, and November 21st against the Utah Jazz. That'll be their stretch. That'll be their games. They got 2 home games, 2 away games, and it's every Friday and Tuesday, except for the Tuesday voting day when there aren't any games. Outside of that, the Lakers will play each of those games. And I think it's a cool concept, right? Kind of gives a little extra added incentive to try to push and win those games because all of the games count except for the final games. That's the only one that doesn't count. Other than that, all the other games that the Lakers would get to play all will count towards their regular season win total. So there is that incentive. But a couple things about that. One, how hard do teams really push for that? Right? Now, from the Lakers standpoint, it would be pretty cool to win the first one ever, in the Kobe year, in the year that many believe that we can win an NBA championship. I am one that is a firm believer. I think we have a ridiculous roster. It would be nice to kind of set the tone and kind of, make that statement to the rest of the league of we're here and we just won this. This is nothing. This isn't the main goal. We just wanted to prove a point. Don't worry. Come, June, we'll be hoisting that Larry O'Brien trophy, right? Like, I am all for that if they really want to commit to that. If the Lakers really want to go in and try to win this tournament and really kind of make a statement, I think they are in a very favorable bracket and an opportunity to which they could really win. The only team that I really think could give them some troubles is the Phoenix Suns, obviously, but just because they're just so top-heavy talent-wise. But even then, I think the Lakers are more than capable of beating them. And I think that they're deeper. I think they're better defensively. And I think that we match up really well. Granted, once you get to like that single elimination thing, anything could happen, right? It's just like anything else. You have a bad night or something. It could change the tides. But the reality is one, will the Lakers kind of be able to build that chemistry and be in the right place to go win that in-season tournament, right? Now, the core guys have been together since a good chunk of last season, right? Towards the back half of last season, but they didn't even play 10 full games healthy together. Although I do think that it will help their playoff grind, right? Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Jared Vanderbilt, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, and then you can even add Max Christie to that list. Although he didn't really play much, he still was a guy that was with the team, on the team, got to pick the brain of several guys and really kind of, make his name, make his presence felt for the Lakers. And I imagine he takes a big step this year in the rotation. Lakers are really high on him. So they could potentially have the chemistry and what they need to go and make that push. And it would be good to kind of buckle down, take it serious, and try to go win those games. I also think that's why the NBA has those games so early in the season, right? Like, they have it within the first month of the season, because I think the NBA is looking at it as like, we want guys to be as healthy as they will possibly be, and then that gives them an incentive and reason to go and play. And, there's like cash prizes and all kinds of stuff for the players that end up playing this game. But one, again, how many teams will take this truly serious, right? Like, when you think of the playoffs and you think of like trying to go win that NBA championship, it's all there is, right? So teams, if they will play through the knick-knack injuries, they will play through a tough ankle sprain or something like that, right? They'll overexert themselves to try to win a playoff game or a playoff series. Will teams take that same approach for this in-season tournament? If teams do, then this could be incredibly exciting. Like, I could see some of the younger teams, like I could see like the Sacramento Kings, right? Like one of those, like a team like that, where it's like, yeah, they want to win the NBA championship, but how realistic is it? And it would be nice for that franchise and that organization to win the in-season tournament, right? I think it would give them a nice little boost in their morale. right? You have several teams like that I think, it would be good for them to win that, and they might try and push a little harder than a team like the Lakers, where it's like the goal isn't to win the in-season tournament. The goal is to win the NBA championship. Same thing with teams like the Suns, the Nuggets, Milwaukee, Boston, those handful of teams that are expected to be the top 4 to 6 teams come playoffs, right? The 3 teams in the East, 3 teams in the West that have a real chance at winning an NBA championship. Like those teams, I'm curious to see how much do they actually treat those games. Because one, it's early in the season, and that's usually when you see teams experimenting with lineups or trying different looks, or teams kind of trying to get their legs under them, right? Teams are trying, like players are trying to kind of get into game shape and whatnot. So how much of that is an impact, right? Where the Lakers, they want to try to play Jackson Hayes alongside Anthony Davis, right? They want to try different lineups and different experiments and, maybe start a Gabe Vincent one night or something, right? Well, will they be willing and wanting to do that if they're in the in-season tournament? Are they going to be able to experiment and try stuff? And various other teams, right? There's several teams that are going to be trying to get different looks because you do that early on, right? You always hear teams, the second half of the season, which it's not really the second half. It's like 25 games or whatever it is. But usually after the trade deadline, that's when teams really buckle down. They start fighting for seeding. They get their playoff rotation locked in. They get everything kind of in order to get ready to ramp up for the playoffs. But the other, 55 games, those are the games that teams are trying to figure things out. They're trying to build that chemistry. They're trying different lineups, different looks, different sets. Hey, let's give this guy some extra rest. All of those things, right? Like, so that is a big thing that could play into this upcoming in-season tournament. The other thing is, too, is like, do players play through the little knick-knack stuff, right? Like, if LeBron has a little ankle tweak, if it was the playoffs, he ain't sitting out. Like, that's nothing. Like, this is, relax, it's fine, right? Like, the dude played with his foot that needed surgery, right? But for a regular season game, yes, it's an in-season tournament, but is he really going to look at it and go, okay, well, I'm at the end of my career. I'm trying to stack championships here. I'm not trying to stack in-season play-in tournaments, right? So same thing with like an Anthony Davis or a Giannis or a Luka or a Kevin Durant or whomever, right? Like, I'm not saying any like major injury, but I'm saying like, like the little knick-knack things that guys will usually take a couple nights off and sit out a couple nights just to kind of rest it and get some extra rest and not try to aggravate it more or hurt it further or whatever, right? Do players treat this as the playoffs? Do the Lakers treat this as the playoffs? I think that's a real question. They're very young outside of LeBron James and to a lesser degree Anthony Davis. So I do think that they will. I definitely think LeBron, if he was going to sit out a game regardless, right? Like a regular season game, I think he sits out a play-in tournament game. Unless it's like the championship game or something like that, or like one of the finals or semifinals games. But if it's like they're playing Memphis and, it's like it's game 1 or whatever, game 2, and it's like, all right, like I'm not going to end up having to need surgery again just to try to go win this little play-in thing, right? Like, I'm curious about that. But the rest of the guys, again, they're very young, they're very talented, they're very gifted. You imagine that they're going to want to kind of show up night and night. They're going to want to prove a point. They're going to want to establish themselves. Again, I could see the Lakers looking at it and going like, this would be a great statement for this season of like, oh no, the Lakers are here. Like, we're here. We're winning this. And not only are we winning this, we're coming for that chip. And we're going to win both of these this year. And good luck to the rest of the league. I could definitely see something along those lines being the place. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think the Lakers will take it serious and kind of buckle down and try to prove a point, try to make a statement? Do you think, no, like they're not really worried about that? The goal is a championship. Do you think other players and other teams and whatnot, do you think that they take it more serious? Like, what are your thoughts on this whole thing? However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments.